Yo, what's up, everybody, and welcome back to the Deal Divers podcast, where we deep dive actual closed deals to uncover the gems and knowledge that you can use and apply in your wholesale real estate business. I'm your host, Ty the Investor, and this is episode 8 of the Deal Divers podcast. Now, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to the channel if you want to get more videos like this and receive a little bit more value. I would greatly appreciate it. Now, let's go ahead and not waste any time. Let's jump right into this deal breakdown. Let's talk about this deal that I recently closed January 29th for over $10,000. All right. Now, some of you guys who are already in the real estate space understand the ebbs and flows, the ups and downs throughout the year in terms of real estate, the market changes, the time of the year. And that's exactly what happened with me last year. All right. Quarter 4 was probably one of the toughest quarters of the year, but the entire 2023 was tough due to the market, due to some mistakes that I made, a whole bunch of stuff. So in Q4, I was making a big shift in my processes and my systems. I changed out my whole CRM. I used to use Podio. Now I use Resimply, my phone system, everything. I just swapped out 180 full circle, and I'm doing it completely different this year. So nevertheless, let's jump into this deal. That has some relevance to this because that's how the deal came in. So the lead came in through an SMS campaign that we sent out last year, probably mid-year last year. We text this guy. At the time, he was not ready to sell that property yet because he was in the process of finding a new house to move into. And the reason why he was moving, he was looking to move closer to work. So work forced him to relocate to Alabama. So he had to find a new property in Alabama. So he needed time to find that property and then obviously move into that property before he was able to sell the one that we were targeting at the time. So I reached out to this guy in October when I was looking to make the shift, switching all of my systems and my CRM and all that, going through old data from my Podio, old leads from my Podio. I had an interested ad to follow up status set, and I was just reaching out to all of those leads that said that they were interested, and I added them to a follow-up system, follow-up task, right? Or status. So I sent out text messages to all these different people under that status, and he actually replied. So I reached out to him. It was in October. Now, the funny thing about this lead, all the communication between him and I was all text message throughout the whole entire process. The first time and only time that I spoke to him verbally was at closing when I met him in person. Now, the reason for this is he is a busy guy. He's always working. He's an engineer, so his hours are crazy. He works long hours, always, occupied. He's like a manager, engineer, all these different things. So him talking on the phone was not as easy as other people would be. So the best form of communicating with him was through text messages, and I just went along with it. And I do have a video that I recently just uploaded. I'm gonna link it in the description of the entire text message thread that we had, and there's a lot of value in that text message thread or conversation that him and I had throughout this whole last 3-4 months. But anyways, I reached out to him and he replied. He was one of the people that replied to my text message saying that he was interested. So I looked back at the notes and saw that, okay, what was going on? He was waiting for a new house and all these different things. So he finally got the house, and he was actually in the process of moving his stuff out. So I reached out to him, and he was like, yeah, I'm interested in selling. And he didn't give me an asking price of what he was looking for. So I just threw out a number out there. I said, we'll probably be around 260. His estimate in this area on this particular property was around 330 at the time. So I said 260. It's an area that a lot of my big time hedge funds will be interested in purchasing in. So I said, let's go ahead and shoot for 260. So I coordinated an appointment to meet him at the property to get photos and things like that. But something else came up at another property in an entirely different direction. So I just told him to send me the photos, and he sent me photos of his property just like that through the text message. And from there, I took those photos and I sent them out to some of my buyers. So I had a few buyers that was interested. I sent one out there, and they came back at $214,000 after looking at the property. So I told him, I said, hey, Mr. Palmer, listen, unfortunately, we're going to be way lower than, you were asking for, than what you're looking for, based off of looking at the property and how much work that the property needs. But the good news is I do have other buyers in our network that are interested in this property. Would you be okay if I set up an appointment for them to come out and look at the property to get the asking price that you're looking for? And he was like, fine. He was cool with it. And, that's what we did. So I sent it out to another buyer in the area and sent it out to him for the same price, $260,000. And after their initial walkthrough, they came back at $240,000. So I told him, I said, listen, Mr. Palmer, they came back. The best that they can do is $228,000 for the property. Would that be something you would consider or work with and be able to do? And he goes, well, not right now. I have some other people that are interested in the property. They just haven't came out yet. If something happens with their offers and they are lower or they fall through, then I'll come back and reach out to you about your offer. So I said, okay, cool. If anything changes, let me know. We'll be in touch. So literally a week later, he reaches out to me and says, hey, I think I'm gonna go with your offer. Bet. So now I have a buyer who's already at 240, and I have him at 228,000. So that's already like a $12,000 deal right there, right? So got him under contract, sent him the contract, got everything, locked up, coordinated another inspection with the buyer because the buyer wanted to do an actual inspection, get the actual inspector out there to get actual numbers on what the repairs will be. So the repairs on this property came up to around $71,000, which was a lot because the house is a big house. It's a 5-bedroom house, 3.5 bathrooms, like 2,800 square feet. Needed a lot of work, a lot of repairs. And the buyer was still willing to do it, especially being a hedge fund buyer or institutional buyer, being able to take on a property that required $70,000 of repairs was a shock to me. So I was like, cool. So after their inspection, they came back down to $234,000. So they came down $6,000, right? So I went back to him and I said, hey, after inspection, they're looking to be at, $220,000. Would that be something you would consider? And he was like, no. Is there any way I can cancel? I didn't know that they were going to come back down after that initial, offer. And I said, well, let me do this. They're usually pretty flexible. Let me see if I can work them and cut them in half. And instead of going down to 220 from 228, would you be okay if we get them at 224? And he was like, yeah, that's fine. So end up going back to the buyer and told them, hey, can we do $236,000, right? And that's what we end up doing. So instead of coming down from 230 to 234, we end up settling at 236, got the buyer at 224, and it kept it still a $12,000 spread. Now, what I had to do in order to get this deal closed was I had to make sure that the property was completely vacant and clear of all junk, trash, debris, furniture, leftover, anything from the house in order to close it. So I went out and I hired someone that I knew to do a trash out, paid them $1,500, and they were able to clean the property out and make sure that it was spick and span and perfect for the buyer to actually close on. And from the time that I got this property under contract, I got it under contract with the seller on December 27th, and we end up closing on January 29th. So the whole process only took about 30 days from the time I got it under contract to the time it closed. There were no issues with title. Everything went smooth. No issues with the buyer. Everything was smooth. No closing dates extended, nothing pushed. Everything went perfectly smooth, and I ended up getting a check for $10,757 on that particular deal. And that was how I closed this deal. It was a double close deal. It wasn't an assignment. With these hedge funds, sometimes they offer assignments. Sometimes they do double close, but with the double close, we were able to do pass-through funding, which means I didn't have to get transactional lending on the deal, which would be another fee that I would have to pay, which was very sweet. And I end up also increasing my net amount by removing the home insurance from the A to B side of the deal. For those of you who have experience, you know exactly what I'm talking about. That's a little hack where you can get $1,000 more on your profit at closing. But yeah, that was deal number 8. That was the first of the year. Like I said, that was a good deal to start off the year, even though the Q4 was kind of slow. But we end up closing that deal at the end of the month in January. And I have 5 properties under contract that have buyers on them and are close to closing in the next couple months as well. So we're going to have some more episodes of the Deal Divers podcast coming soon. So make sure you guys like, subscribe to the channel, and comment your thoughts below. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Got a lot of value from it. Like I said, I'm going to link the video description, the video with the text message between me and the seller in the description. So if you want to check that out, make sure you go ahead and do that. But until next time, keep closing, keep hunting, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace.